Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Nakwan, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut to giving, of course, our honor and our glory to Yahweh. By Shema Mashiach Malak Yabushai. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Mashiach Malak Yabushai. A hearty, mighty Shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there in the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their body as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there in the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying, they're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Akwath out there, the sincere sisters out there, holding it down in the households, referencing the husbands being submissive and diligent and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers, and even a woman that may not be married. Shalom to the Akwath out there who tend upon the Lord without distraction, focusing and giving their mind, body, and soul to Yahweh Bashmi Abishai. Shalom to the ancient men, the children, everybody tuning in live, Divine in Nature, LLC, Ephraimite Ak, HBK Ent, the Don Israel, the Israelite Foreigner, Richard Perez, Malcolm Kufi, Nigel Blends, from Egypt to Israel, True Nation Philippines, Johanna Israel, T. Sellers, and everybody else tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing. Shabbat Shalom, the topic of this code, is end time visions, Ezekiel chapter 47, and the tree of life and the rising waters. So I want to kind of get back in the spirit of going into these prophecies, going into these visions that our forefathers have seen, right? Things that Daniel have saw, things that Ezekiel have seen, right? Things and prophecies that Jeremiah has saw, and many other of our fathers who have walked the earth before us, man. Remember, Yahweh Bashmi Mashai, what he does is he reveals revelations to our fathers by dreams and visions, right? That's in the book of Numbers, right? Let's actually get that. Let's go to Numbers, 12th chapter, right? What did the Most High tell Aaron and Miriam about Moses? This is Numbers chapter 12 and verse 5. And the Lord came down in the pillar of the cloud and stood, Salakia. And the Lord came down in the pillar of the cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. So the Most High called them forth because they were rebuking Moses, right? And it was unwarranted. And he said, "Hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, Yahweh, will make myself known unto him in a vision and will speak unto him in a dream." And that's why you have prophets that have these visions, things that Isaiah saw. When Isaiah said, "Behold, the Lord cometh with fire, and with his chairs like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many." Right? When the Lord would put that in Ezekiel, like Isaiah's spirit to write that, Isaiah saw these things, man. Even in Isaiah chapter 63, right? One of my favorite visions, he said, "Who is this that comes from Edom?" Right? He saw a vision of Yahweh Shah returning from slaughtering the so-called white man, predominantly in America. And he asked the question, he said, "Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra?" So he saw a vision of Yahweh Shai returning from the slaughter of Esau. And he was drenched in red, which is blood, right? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. He said, "Who is this man traveling in the greatness of his strength? Who is this man in his all white, well, was white, now turned red garment?" And Yahweh Shai answered and said, "What? I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save." That is a vision, right? The Most High taps into your spirit, right? And takes you into another dimension, for lack of better terms, and allows you to see things that are going to happen on the earth, right? That's why, again, a classic in Hosea, right? Hosea chapter 12 and 10, it reads, "I have also spoken by the prophets and have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets." And if we didn't have visions, we wouldn't really have a great expectation, right? So what the Most High has done is he has allowed us in this life, in the land of the living, to have something to look forward to, right? To have, if these prophets didn't have visions of what the kingdom is going to look like, or us being in rulership, or putting these nations in captivity, or Yahushua destroying these kingdoms, I mean, what really do we have to hope for? Right? Or we may still have hope. It may be very limited and constrained, but these visions, right, they boost our hope and our faith and allows us to really drive towards that expectation. So the visions are very important to go into because they relay what Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua is going to do on the earth. Right? And they already saw what happened, but now we're living it and we're watching it play out. And one of the visions, right, I want to go into, first let me get this in 1 Samuel, right, chapter 3, dealing with visions. 1 Samuel chapter 3 and 1. And the child Samuel ministered unto the Lord before Eli, and the word of the Lord was precious. In those days, there was no open vision. And you got brothers that have open visions now, right? You may have a vision of something to happen on the earth, and then it happens, man. You may have been visited by a dream where the Most High said you're going to encounter a particular individual, or something's going to befall your family, or a brother may be dealing with a demon, and the Most High kind of revealed that to you, or something that you are dealing with internally. And the Most High gave you a vision of the judgment that's going to come, or however Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua works on that particular individual. Nevertheless, in the time of Samuel, which is really an extended period at the time of Judges, you didn't have these great visions that Ezekiel had, and Jeremiah and Isaiah and John the Revelator. You didn't have these things. So when there's no open vision, people are really longing to see what the Most High is going to do on the earth. That's what the Lord said. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Right in the book of Proverbs. Right, let me get that. I believe that's Proverbs 20. And if I'm not mistaken, it's kind of Proverbs chapter 29 and 18. It reads, Salakia, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. You see that? So when people don't have these visions and the Most High working with them to show Israel what you're expected to do or what you have in store for you, people perish. Right? Why are people perishing? Because they don't have any signs from their God. Right? There's no communication between Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua and the people because the medium are the prophets. So the prophets are the intercessors on behalf of the Most High to deal with the nation. So the Most High gives the visions to the prophets that the people don't perish, that they can receive correction, judgment, warning, you understand, guidance. And if you don't have these visions coming from these men, you're not going to know how to react and respond to what's going on the earth, right? So that's just a quick insight on visions and how they work amongst our people. Now, Ezekiel, we did Daniel, the second chapter, which is a beautiful vision that Nebuchadnezzar saw, Daniel saw, and they interpreted that vision. Here's another vision, right? These are end time visions, visions that are going to happen in these last days and that are happening right now and that are going to happen as we approach the day of the Lord, right? This is Ezekiel chapter 47 and 1. Now, Ezekiel's a priest. He's a Levite, right? He's a top tier Israelite on the earth during the time of the Babylonian captivity. Now, during the Babylonian captivity, he's walking the earth around 597 BC or so. If you look at a timeline, just to give you a timeline of this vision of prophets. All right, let's see if we can get this. Now, some articles are better than others, right? But most of them are generally the same. So let me pull this up. See if we can get a good map. All right, so here's up here. Here's the timeline. The date 950 BC, 900 BC, 850 BC at the top, 800 BC, 750 BC, etc. And which empire ruled during those times or that were around during this time? Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia, right? And they give you the kingdoms, northern and southern kingdom, Judah by themselves, exile and post-exile. So right now we're looking at Babylon in the exile. Judah falls around 586 BC. And during that time of Judah falling, that's where Jeremiah was on the scene. Jeremiah was alive during the time of Josiah. Daniel was on the scene, and Ezekiel was on the scene. So these are what you call contemporaries, meaning these prophets lived at the same time, right? Certain prophets literally walked and worked together. Haggai and Zechariah, they had visions and they worked together to stir up Israel. Ezra and Nehemiah, they worked together to stir up Israel, right? Same thing with Elisha and Elijah. Certain prophets lived during the exact same time, and Ezekiel was literally around the time of Daniel and Jeremiah, just to give you an insight of when he saw these visions. Now, here's one of his chief visions in Ezekiel chapter 47:1. Afterward, he brought me again unto the door of the house, and behold, waters issued out from under the threshold of the house eastward. From the forefront of the house stood toward the east. It's like for the forefront of the house stood toward the east, and the waters came down from the right side of the house at the south side of the altar. So what he saw were waters coming out of the temple, right? If you look up a vision, and this is just the artist's rendition of what Ezekiel may have saw, right? Let's see, we can get this. We'll just type in waters. Now, is this exactly what he saw? No, right? But, it's just to kind of paint the picture, right? It's kind of just to paint the picture of what Ezekiel saw. He saw waters issuing out from the right side of the temple. And this temple is not the temple that Solomon built, right? It's not the temple that Zerubbabel built with Joshua and the men of that time. This is a temple for the kingdom. You understand? And he saw waters issue out. He actually saw this. It wasn't like the water was leaking. Maybe we need to get a plumber. Okay, let's see if we got insurance. No, it's not that kind of leak. This is a vision to represent something, And he saw waters issuing out from the east side. Right, let's read that again. It reads, afterward, he brought me again unto the door of the house. And behold, waters issue out from under the threshold of the house eastward. Now, east, this is spiritual, right? He saw it, but it represents something. Eastward is what? Speaking about Jerusalem, right? Anytime you see east in a spiritual manner of prophecy, it lets you know that east is always dealing with Jerusalem or our people, right? It reads, for the forefront of the house toward the east. Remember, we pray toward the east, right? Did not Daniel pray toward Jerusalem? Daniel chapter 6 and 10. Quick precept. Now, when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem. Why? Because that's where the temple was. He kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God as he did aforetime. Right? So that's what that word east is really having significance with. It's significant with the temple and the house of the Lord. Right? Let's get another precept. Let's go to Revelation. Then I'll get it's Revelation chapter 7 and verse 1. It reads, and after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from where? From the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. So even the angels come from the east, right? Because really, on a deeper level, it's not just the temple and it's not just the land. When you're dealing with that land, it's a spiritual land, right? It's spiritual. What did Jacob see in Genesis, right? Chapter 22. Right, so like in that Genesis, let me get this like Genesis 28. Right, this is Genesis chapter 28 and verse 11. Right, just to give you one more account about this east. Right, and that's why Ezekiel saw the waters from the east, because it has a spiritual significance with the temple, with the house, and with the land of Israel. Right, it reads, and he lighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night, because the sun was set. And he took up the stones of that place and put them for his pillows. and laid down in that place to sleep. So Jacob was a tough man, right? How many brothers could take a stone and use it for a pillow? That's why Jake, you know how to kind of make the best out of nothing, right? And you could deal with anything, man. He took stone to use them for pillows, man. Jake, you be sleeping on a mattress, the mattress be all jammed up, and you be having a leak in the house, but you kind of make it work, right? That's because you are Jacob, right? But let's read on. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of the Most High ascending and descending on it. So he saw a vision of a ladder, and his ladder connected the third heaven to the terrestrial realm, right? To this realm that we live in, this earthly realm, the land of the living, right? Now that ladder was really like a portal, for lack of better terms, that connected the third heaven to the earth. So the angels could go up in that ladder to the third heaven, and they would come down from the third heaven to the earth. Right? Let's read on. It wasn't an actual ladder, right? You brothers know it was a ladder. Remember, this is a vision. We're talking about visions, right? That's how Jacob described it, as a ladder. All right. Read on. A ladder is for ascension and descension, right? The angels don't walk on the earth like we do. They ascend and they descend. So the best way to describe their ascension and their descending is to use a ladder, right? Which is an object used to climb and to climb down, or climb up and climb down. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and will bring thee again into this land, for I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken to thee of. Now here's the point. And Jacob awaked out of his sleep. And that's a mighty vision I have right there, man. Right? And Jacob awaked out of his sleep and said, surely Yahweh is in this place, and I knew it not. So Yahweh is in that place through the Spirit. Listen to what else Jacob said. And he was afraid and said, how dreadful is this place? This, meaning the land of Israel, this is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. So before the temple was even built, Jacob said, this is the house of God, because it's deeper than the temple. That land is there's a high level of spiritual activity in that land. Jacob said, this is the gate of heaven. What does a gate allow? For someone to enter and for someone to exit, right? And it serves as a barrier, right? So the gate is for the angels to come in, one of their main headquarters, for lack of better terms, right, is the land of Israel. So they're coming from the third heaven to the earth through the land of Israel, and they leave the earth to the heavens through the land of Israel. That's the gate of heaven. That's the headquarters. That's the east. That's why in Ezekiel chapter 47, he saw the waters issued out eastward, for the forefront of the house stood toward the east, because Jacob already mentioned that. Right? He said, this is the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven, before a building was physically there. Right? It reads, and the waters came down from under the right side of the house at the south side of the altar. Now, the waters came down on the right side, because the right side symbolizes strength and power. East and the right side. If you look at a compass, right? Let's pull up a regular compass. If you're looking straight at a compass, your east is your right side, right? So it's very spiritual, right? The east is the right side. So he saw waters issuing out toward the east on the right side of the altar. To let you know how this lets you know it's not just okay, east, right side. That's a coincidence. That's strange. How come it wasn't west? Well, you gotta open up your spiritual mind. Remember the Most High, when you read certain breakdowns and certain visions, You have to, pray that Yahweh Basham Yahushua opens up your mind. Right? You should pray that always, but you have to know what you're getting yourself involved with certain chapters. Right? Quick precept. Revelation chapter 3 and verse 18. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. You see that these are the requirements for salvation: buying gold tried in the fire, buying white raiment, right? And this is all spiritual. You can't literally buy white raiment from your favorite department store, your online, right? Speaking about buying is truth. And the currency that you use is what? Repentance, meekness, humility, right? And in exchange, the Most High gives you a white raiment, which represents a pure spirit and a spiritual marketplace, man, right? And you got to buy this eye salve. How do you buy eye salve? Through prayer, by fasting, by meditating in the dark sayings. That's your $100 bill, your 50 and your 20 if you got ears to hear. And in exchange for those things, the Most High gives you the eye salve. You take that eye salve and you put it on your eye, meaning your mind, right? The eyes of your understanding, that you may truly see what particular things are going into, right? And Christianity doesn't give our people eye salve, man, right? They damn blind you and put a veil over your face to shroud you in darkness. So now we kind of understand what that right side and that east side means, because the east side is the right side. All right. So let's go back to this. Ezekiel chapter 47 and 2. Then brought he me out of the gate northward, and led me about the way without unto the other gate by the way that looketh eastward. So he's leading them out of the gate on the outside towards the other gate that looketh toward the east. And behold, there ran out waters on the right side. And that's the vision that he saw right here. Where's that vision? He saw these waters running upon the right side. We get another, see that? We actually saw these waters running out. See that? And this is very, very spiritual. All right, let's go back to this. And these waters, they represent the truth, right? They represent the word of the Most High. That's what the waters represent, right? Let's actually get a quick precept on that. Let's go to the book of Ephesians, right? Chapter 5 and 26. Classic. Ephesians chapter 5 and 26. That he may sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. See that? So that word is likened unto the water, because the water is what nourishes you, sustains you, keeps you alive in a time of severe thirst. You need the water. Every brother, if you don't have water, I mean, what happens to you, man? Even on a physical level, you get dehydrated, you get headaches, you can barely speak because your throat is dry. You begin to experience fatigue. Some people get delirious, right? They start hallucinating, heat stroke, pass out, wither away, die, man. That's what happens if you don't have that water. So you need that water to purify your soul, man, right? And to cleanse you of all manner of wickedness and evil. All right, let's go to John, the 3rd chapter. This is John chapter 3 and verse 5. Yahushua answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of the Most High. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Right? Marvel not that I say unto thee, ye must be born again. So brothers have to be born of the water and of the Spirit, man. Like a child is born in their mother's womb and is surrounded in the water, for lack of better terms, until that water breaks. Right? And that once that water breaks, that baby is on his way out. So you're born in the water. Your body's comprised of water. There's more water on the earth than there is land. You understand? So the water plays a significant role in the spirit and power of Yahweh Basham Yahushua. And that's that word that he saw issuing out, right, toward the east. Right? Let's go to 1 John chapter 5. Right, this is 1 John chapter 5 and verse 6. This is he that came by water and blood, even Yahushua Hamashiach, not by water only, but by water and blood. And it is the spirit that beareth witness, because the spirit is truth. So Yahushua came by water and by blood. What does that mean, man? Well, the water's the word. Remember, he taught the apostles, he taught the disciples, he taught the 5,000, the 4,000, and the souls that came unto him, right? And cleansed their spirit with the word of the Most High. And he came by blood, because the blood is to purify you from sin. These are the top two cleansing agents created ever by Yahweh himself. You said, but what about bleach? And what about this? Well, no, nothing purifies more than the water and the blood. And it's the blood of Yahushua. Because only the blood of Yahushua can tap deep into the spirit. Esau can't sell. If your spirit is all with infirmities, only the blood of Yahushua can make that right. Can't give you no over-the-counter prescription or give you some type of Monday through Friday pill box. Take 2 of these at night and to heal you, man. It don't work like that. The blood is what purifies you. Inside of your blood is life, right? So the life of Yahushua is what purifies us. That's Leviticus chapter 17 and verse 11, dealing with the blood, right? Let me get that real quick. Leviticus chapter 17, right, in verse 11. It reads, "For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul." So that blood brings forth forgiveness, right, which is that atonement, and it purifies you, because the life of Yahushua resurrects your dead soul, your dead spirit, man, dead in your sins. And that life is like a spiritual defibrillator that you put upon it, and it shoots that jolt of life unto you, and you come into this truth, right? So Yahushua indeed came by water and by blood, not by water only, but by water and blood. And it is the spirit that beareth witness, because the spirit is truth. For there are three that bear record in heaven: the Father, the Word, and the Holy Spirit. And these three are one. And there are three that bear witness in earth: the Spirit, and the water, and the blood. And these three agree in one. See that? So the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the water, and the blood, they all agree in one. They all have agreed as a witness of Yahushua and of this truth, right? That's what they bear witness of. The Lord said, out of the mouth of what? 2 or 3 witnesses shall the matter be established. What is the matter being established? That the Spirit is truth, and that Yahushua was sent from the Heavenly Father. And the witnesses is outside of flesh and blood of man. The witnesses are from on high. The Holy Spirit, the water, and the blood, they have agreed and testified that Yahushua is the truth, right? So that water that is going into is the word of the Most High, all right? And it's issuing out toward the right side. And it's going to be used, as we read this account, to heal the waters. You understand? And to heal the land that is barren, right? Let's read on. Ezekiel chapter 47 and 3. "And when the man that had the line in his hand went forth eastward, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he brought me through the waters. The waters were to the ankles." So now the water is rising, like any flood, right? It takes time for a flood to happen, right? It doesn't just happen instantaneously where, okay, it rains. Okay, now there's 5 seconds later, there's a 8-foot flood, and all of the streets are flooded and the cars are floating up top. It don't work like that, right? It takes time, right, for waters to rise. And that's what the Lord is showing you. The Lord is letting you know that, hey, look, this word is the knowledge and wisdom of the Most High, right? And in process of time, that knowledge is going to rise and increase. Remember in the book of Daniel, the Most High said that knowledge, he said, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Daniel chapter 12 and verse 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and what? And knowledge shall be increased. You see that? And that's where there's more archaeology coming to the light about who the Israelites are. That's where you have more breakdowns, more revelations, more visions. You have scholarly debates going on amongst Israelites, right? You have information being brought out from different artifacts, and knowledge is increasing, man. The knowledge of prophecy is increasing. What particular chapters truly mean? What particular visions are really going into? The Most High is revealing that from on high. And it's happening periodically, right? And when you study the history of even us as a nation in exile, predominantly in America, the Hebrew Israelites have always been a thing. It may have not have been as big as it is now, but there, and I wish I put the timeline, right, that a brother actually put out there from brothers from the time of the 1800s who knew that they were Israelites, man. These men had schools, right? They had churches, and they was teaching that the so-called black man is an Israelite. They didn't just start with brothers out there today on the highways and byways, man. Right? The Lord said that we have entered into other men's labors. Right? Let me get that first. Right? Yahweh Shah said that, man. Right? Let me see if I can get that. Sake of time. Kind of John chapter 4 and verse 38. Right? John chapter 4 and 38. It reads, I sent you to reap whereon ye bestowed no labor. Other men labored, and ye are entered into their labors. So what Ezekiel is seeing, he's seeing in process of time how that labor is increasing, and it's reflected by the water that's increasing. Because other men have labored, they have taught the word Israelites from the 1800s to the 1900s, right, to the 1950s, right? You may hear certain names out there. You may hear about the commandment keepers, right? You may hear of Abba Bivens. You may hear of High Priest Ariyah. You may hear elders speak of King Masha. You may hear of all of these men that have been in the truth even before us. A lot of elders of the truth now, man, right? You have elders, Apostle Tahar, Ramlab, Gabar. You got Bishop Nathaniel or General Nathaniel, right? You have General Yohana, right? You have a lot of men that have been in the truth for 35 elder priest Zabak and priest Kahan, and a lot of these men have been in the truth. Donnie Olive of Hashar, right? Or General Hashar for 35 plus years and so, man. Right? And we're men that have entered into those men labors, man. Right? And now we're doing the work. There are men that come after us, and those men are entering into labors. And knowledge and breakdowns are being increased as time progresses, and the true understanding of particular verses is being made manifest. Right? And there are examples I can kind of get into, but that's for another, that's for another time. So Ezekiel is watching waters increase, just like the vision shows. Right? Let's see if I can get back to this vision. You see that? Hold on, let me kind of zoom this in. All right, well, you can kind of see it. Right now, they got him as a so-called white man. We know exactly, that he's a so-called black man, an Israelite, right, from the tribe of Levi, pushing and doing the work of the Most High. Right, that's how it works. But they got him as a so-called white man because the so-called white man is the devil, right, and a damn demon. So as you see Ezekiel walking the waters, the truth is increasing. Right, that's what this is going into. Let's read on. And at one time, the waters were to the ankles. Meaning what? At one time, hey, look, we might have just known that we were Israel, man. Right? There was no breakdowns of Revelation, the 9th chapter. right? Second Ezra, chapter 11 and 12. You know, Ezekiel 47, right? Those chapters weren't expounded upon because the Most High didn't give it. Let's go to Second Ezra chapter 6, right? And the Most High gives this word out in piecemeal as time progresses. As time progresses, the Lord said, wisdom and knowledge shall be increased. Right? Let's go to Second Ezra, chapter 6. All right, this is Second Ezra, chapter 6. I believe I want 24. Right? It reads, at that time, shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So you're going to have friends fighting like enemies. You're going to have Esau fight against Esau, the European Union breaking off, right? You're going to have nations turned against one another, right? You're going to have damn actual friends and people robbing each other for food and spoiling houses, right? For lack of bread and great tribulation. And the earth shall stand in fear, because what's going to come on the earth is something that the world hasn't seen before. The world is used to being comfortable, right? The world is used to things going their way, and nothing significant has shaken up the earth like what's going to come. So the earth is going to stand in fear with those that dwell therein. Here's the point: the springs of the fountains shall stand still. What are the springs of the fountains? There's truth. There's living water. It's still running. It hasn't stood still yet. So if it hasn't stood still yet, that means there's still living water being made manifest. There's still more understanding that the Lord is issuing out. And the Lord freely disperses that wisdom according to who he pleases. Right? There's not going to be one brother that knows everything. The Most High is going to give that thing out and process of time. So what was manifest in the 1950s is not the same knowledge as right now in the 80s. So what you may have known in the 80s is damn sure not what you know in the 2000s, because technology has to increase, knowledge has to increase, and that's all going to tie hand in hand to understand what these visions were. Right? So the springs and the fountains are still running, man. But the time is coming where the Lord said they're going to stand still. And it's not going to be a flood of living waters. Right? It's going to be a famine of the water and a famine of the word. And many people are going to die of thirst. When is that going to happen? In 3 hours. Like I said, hold on, 3 hours. It's 9:49. That means 10:49, 11:49, 12:49. What am I going to do? It's not talking about three actual hours where the flood is going to stop. 3 is just a number that means emphasis in the Bible. Some would even say completion. So it's just a spiritual number that means in a set time there will be no more word manifested out there. It's going to be a famine of the word. And 3 hours they shall not run. Verse 25, whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. Right? So right now, those living waters were flowing that Ezekiel saw. Springs of the fountains. You understand? But they will come to an end in about 3 hours on a spiritual level. All right, let's read on. In Ezekiel chapter 47 and 4. Again, he measured 1,000 and brought me through the waters. The waters were to the knees. Again, he measured 1,000 and brought me through. The waters were to the loins. And this is time progressing, right? This is time progressing, and more Israelites waking up, right? Let me see if there was an actual posted timeline, right, of the Hebrew Israelites, right? Because they actually have certain threads and posts. Let's see. I may not be able to find it. Let's see. See what the ADL has to say. Right? The wicked ADL. Let's see. They got the 12 tribes chart. Okay, extremists. Look at this. They got important and recurring Black Hebrew Israelite phrases. Jew-ish, Edom, Cap. So these devils be studying, man. They be studying. right? So-called, used to draw doubt to identity labels, street teaching, T. Look at this, THM. See, they messed up. It's supposed to be TMH, but that's the Most High had them do that, man. Right? Had them mess up the Most High. Okay, so check this out. Now here's what we want. Look at this history of American Black Hebrew Israelite groups, and this kind of helps you understand how these waters are rising as you see the history of the Hebrew Israelites being made manifest. All right, Black Hebrew Israelite ideology is rooted in fringe interpretations. And remember, this Esau's breakdown, right there, quick assessment that nobody really asked for. Right, it reads of the enslavement and mistreatment of Israelite individuals throughout history, including the belief that the Most High punished disobedient Israelites by spreading their nation and their descendants across the world via the slave trade. Well, that's in the Bible. We didn't make that up. It's not our belief. I mean, it's written. It's not our ideology. All right, it's biblical. While Hebrew Israelites hold white people responsible for the slave trade, well, you hold yourself responsible. Right? You're the ones that teach it. You did it. So we hold y'all. Esau's such a damn serpent, man. We hold the white people responsible. Well, didn't you do it? Who the hell did it then, man? Let me read on for I'm not. Let me finish this because I want to get to the point. This stuff kind of make you upset, man. Right? While Hebrew Israelites hold white people responsible for the slave trade, some teachings place importance on the actions of Israelites that lead to their punishment, how acceptance of ideology will put them back into the Most High's good graces, right? I want to get down to the point. Okay, Gabriel Prosser, who was enslaved in Virginia, is credited with preaching the earliest iterations of Hebrew Israelite ideology. Prosser, who studied the Bible, is best known for sparking a slave rebellion in 1800. So let's go back to Ezekiel, right? We kind of bring this with this. Right, in Ezekiel, remember the Most High said at one time, the waters were only to the ankles. So that would be around that time of the 1800s, right? With Gabriel Prosser, right? Gabriel Prosser led a slave rebellion. And it's spiritual that his name is Gabriel, because Gabriel means, or it's in the Hebrew, it's Gabar Ya'Allah. Gabar meaning warrior, and Allah meaning God. So Gabriel is actually the second angel in command in the third heaven under Michael the archangel. Gabriel is the one that came to Daniel and he came to Mary. All right. So if you get visited by Gabriel, and you got a heavy message coming your way, right? And you're a man that's highly favored. Gabriel only comes to people that's highly favored. He don't come to a bunch of niggas sitting around doing God knows what, man. Let me pull up Gabriel Prosser. It's like I spelled his name wrong. See that? Gabriel Prosser. Born in 1775 near Richmond. Hold on, let me go down. Let's see. American bondsman, right? Like the Lord said in Deuteronomy 28:68, and there ye should be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. That's written. So this shows you he has fulfilled Deuteronomy 28:68, like a lot of our other forefathers, right? Or millions of them, who planned the first major slave rebellion in U.S. history. His abortive revolt greatly increased whites' fears of the slave population throughout the South. The son of an African-born mother, now they say African-born, right? Really, they say African because they don't want to use the word Israelite. Grew up as the slave of Thomas H. Prosser. Gabriel became a deeply religious man, strongly influenced by biblical example. You see that? And that's why they said, hey, look, this guy, he may have known things. See, Nat Turner, he knew things, man. When you watch that movie, Birth of a Nation, Nat Turner kind of knew some things, right? Nat Turner, he actually knew that the so-called white man was the damn devil, man. And he was actually marching to Jerusalem, which was a city out there in the VA. All right. So Gabriel Prosser kind of knew things. Now, did he know all of the in-depth breakdowns and dark secrets of Second Esdras and Revelation? No, there's no account of that. Right. But just that sheer influence that the Most High gave him was enough for them to document and say, hey, look, this thing could have started with this man. All right. And the spring and summer, and we have many rebellions. Don't you know in the book of Judges, there's nothing but slave rebellions from Ehud, Othniel, Shagmar, Samson. Those are all slave rebellions. It's not just Nat Turner and Gabriel Prosser. A Benjamite led a slave rebellion and killed the fat Eglon Moabite king with a dagger with the left hand. Blew the trumpet and rebelled against the rulership of the Moabites. You know? But let's read on. In the spring and summer of 1800, he laid plans for a slave insurrection aimed at creating an independent black state in Virginia with himself as king. See that? Kind of went off right there. He planned a three-pronged attack on Richmond, Virginia that would seize the arsenal, take the powder house, and kill all whites except Frenchmen, Methodists, and Quakers. So if that was his plan, if this real, well, he wasn't there all the way. If this is, accurate, part of Deuteronomy 28:68, it also says, no man shall buy thee. Right? But if he planned to kill all of the Edomites except the French, Methodists, and Quakers, well, he should have rethought that. Somebody should have told him, hold on, well, that's good, but let's kill the Frenchmen too. And the Methodists, Edomites, let's kill them. Let's kill them all. Right? We're not just going to rest. See, when we take these nations down and we truly take these Edomites down, we're not going to hold off on the Frenchmen. We're not going to go to France and kind of say, well, hold on now. Okay, this is France. Okay, well, what are we doing here? Let's leave these guys alone. Let them kind of figure this thing out for themselves, but we're moving on to Germany. Okay, are you a Methodist? Yes, I'm a Methodist. Okay, we'll leave you alone. Are you a Quaker? Yes, I'm a Quaker. Okay, you're fine. No, man, it's going to be a genocide. I mean, that's the only word that we can use. What other word do you want us to use, man? It's going to be a genocide on these other nations, man. Right? So, he wasn't all the way there. Right? Let me get this precept in Obadiah. Right? I must get Obadiah. Like you say, well, what verse in Obadiah are you going to get? There's 20-something verses. Well, which one? Well, Obadiah verse 18, right? Obadiah verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for a stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai hath spoken it. So the Lord said there shall not be any remaining. And really, the Most High is going to do this, right? I mean, we're going to put them in slavery, exterminated, but really, the Most High is going to have that final say so, man. Right? So we kind of got a little bit about Gabriel Prosser, and that was the waters, kind of to the ankles. The earliest organized Hebrew Israelite congregation was started by F.S. Cherry, founder of the Church of the Living God, the pillar ground of truth of all nations. So let's pull up F.S. Cherry. Right? F.S. Cherry. All right, let's pull this brother up. Right? F.S. Cherry. Now they say that this brother had his own church too. Right? Let's see if we can get this brother. Frank S. Cherry and William Saunders Crowdy. Okay, little is known about Cherry's. Okay, Frank S. Cherry from 1875 to 1963. He lived a long, that's a good long age. Was the founder and leader of one of the early Black Hebrew Israelite groups in the United States. Remember, Ezekiel saw these things. He saw those waters rise, but remember, that's speaking about the knowledge of this truth coming up in process of time. Right? And I believe this is F.S. Cherry, or that this is William Crowdy. This is Frank S. Cherry, and this is S. Crowdy. See that? Now, IUIC, they have something. Oh, look at it. They got a brief Israelite history right here. All right, so let me see what they got. Okay. Okay, I don't. Okay, just want to get this. So they kind of went into it, man. Right? They kind of went into it. So they started with the 1800s, right? With Gabriel Prosser, 1831 with Nat Turner, right? Remember Nat Turner? He was in Virginia, and he's the one that kind of led a rebellion too, and he killed a lot of people, man. A lot of Edomites, you know. And he knew he was an Israelite. Remember, there's an account of him reading Psalms. I'm gonna have to open up another blue letter. When you read that, he was reading Psalms, I believe, chapter 20. Right? When you watch that big the trailer. Right? Let's see. That wasn't Psalms. Psalms 27, Salaki. That's what it was. Psalms chapter 27. Right? This is Psalms chapter 27 and 1. It reads, and he was reading this in the trailer, and he was reading Psalms chapter 149 in the movie. So he was in, because a lot of these Psalms, remember, when you go back to the slave Bible, the brother you're calling the cap, he got the slave Bible. The slave Bible, if I'm not mistaken, removed 100% of Exodus and Psalms. Right? 100% of Exodus and the Psalms. Right? So Salaki, bear with me. And they removed Exodus, Psalms, and there's a whole other slew of scriptures and chapters that they removed. Hey, Shalom, King. Hey, in the quick account, I'm on this live. And that Psalm and that slave Bible, how much of the Psalms was removed? Was it 100%? Let me check real quick. All right, I got the mighty historian Yakar on the live, right? He's about to pull up the account. Right? He's about to pull up the account of how much of the Psalms was removed. And if I wasn't mistaken, I thought it was all of them. Right here. Okay, Con. The Negro Bible, the Slave Bible. All right. And we're going to go to the accounts that was moved out of the Bible. We'll go to Psalms. And gone. 150 chapters, all of them removed. You see that? Right? You mind saying that again, King Baba Kasha? This is the book of Psalms and the Slave Bible. 150 chapters, all of them removed. You see that? 150 chapters, all of them removed, man. Right? The water for that, King. I appreciate it. How about All right, Shalom. See that? 150 chapters, all of them removed. The brother got the book, man. So why would they take all of the Psalms out? Because the Psalms, it'll spark a rebellion. It'll stir up your mind to destroy your adversary. The Psalm isn't just, oh, Jesus, we love. It's not like that, man. Right? It's not, come on, little boys and girls, let's sing a song to Jesus. No, the Psalms spark rebellion. Right? This is Psalms 27 and 1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even my enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. So if I was in slavery and I read this, I'm not going to question who the wicked is. 2023, Jake, you'll question, well, who's the wicked? Well, we're all wicked. No, man, back then, everybody knew who the wicked was, especially our people. So imagine reading this after you got your back whooped, after your child was taken away from you, after your wife was raped, after your father was buck broken. You're going to read the wicked, and it's not just you. All of the Jews in captivity are going to, that man is the wicked. And the Most High is going to give us power to destroy them. It reads, though an host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise against me, and this will I be confident. Because we were taught not to be confident in the Most High. We were only taught to be confident in the so-called white man and to trust in him. So they removed that. They kept certain books and certain chapters, but the Psalms, no slave Bible has any psalm in it by design. Right? Another psalm that Nat Turner had, which represents those waters rising, was Psalms 149 that he read. And they show you that in the movie Birth of a Nation. Right? Psalms chapter 149 and verse 6. Let the high praise, I'm going to start at 5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand. You know, Esau saw that and said, nope, not taking that out. Two-edged sword. Nope, let's take that out. Okay, let's take Psalms 137 out. They took it out. They said, hell, take them all out. Because the Most High is telling your slave that he's going to have a two-edged sword to kill you, man. Right? And a two-edged sword in their hand to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people. To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. To execute upon them the judgment written, this honor have all his saints, praise ye the Lord. So Nat Turner had these psalms. Our forefathers knew these things. Right? So let's move on. So after Nat Turner, you had men like Frank S. Cherry and William Crowder. Right? William Saunders Crowder in Lawrence, Kansas, established the Church of God and Saints of Christ. Although he taught blacks were God's people, he mixed a lot of Christianity in his teachings. Right? And you can kind of look up William Saunders Crowder as well. And those are the waters kind of rising up to the loins. And then you have Frank S. Cherry. Frank S. Cherry set up the Church of the Living God and the Pillar Ground of Truth of All Nations. The group was founded and later moved to Philadelphia. Theologically, the Church of the Living God mixed elements of Judaism and Christianity and the Talmud. So he started mixing in Judaism, right? The Torah, right? The circumcision, the law of Moses, right? This is F.S. Cherry. You see that? So these are some of the men that paved the way, man. Right? These are men that paved the way for us to be in this truth and kind of know what's going on, man. All right. Now, again, does it mean that they knew everything that we may know today? No. Right? It doesn't mean, okay, what they was getting on Esau, they was telling that this is Babylon the Great. Okay, Cornelius, in Romans 11, or, those are Israelites. Okay, salvation. Okay, the Samaritans are these people. Okay, that this is what 2nd Ezra 11 is talking about. This is Julius Caesar, Octavian, Tiberius, Caligula, Galba, etc. Man, they wasn't going deep into that, as far as I know. But these men were still pushing a form of godliness, man. Right? So let's see. See if I can get down. I'm not going to read this whole thing. Right? Let's see. Right? You can kind of read this on your own. right? But it speaks about so-called FS Cherry, right? This weekend, Black Israelites, right, from Sam Kestenbaum will gather across New York City to celebrate their spiritual patriarch, a rabbi from Harlem who helped establish America's Black Hebrew Israelite movement a century ago. Right? Quote, we thank the Most High for our beloved Chief Rabbi Matthew. Community member Deborah Rubin wrote online. Chief Rabbi Matthew will always be remembered as a teacher, a scholar of the Torah, a builder, and a great leader in Israel. Right? So you have men that kind of walked on the scene and did things, man. Let's go back to Ezekiel chapter 47, right? And 3. And when a man that had the line in his hand went forth eastward, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he brought me through the waters. The waters were to the ankles. Again, he measured 1,000, and that's time increasing as time progresses, and brought me through the waters. The waters were to the knees. Again, he measured 1,000 and brought me through. The waters were to the loins. So from the 1800s to the 1830s to the 1860s, let's pull this back up. Where's the article? Okay, about F.S. Cherry, Frank S. Cherry. Little is known about Cherry's early and adult life, but we do know that he was born in the southern United States. He did not go to school, but educated himself in both Hebrew and Yiddish. See that? And what made him do that? The Spirit. See, the Spirit is always going to drive the Israelites to the Most High, right? We have the Spirit of the Most High in us, man. That's what compelled this man to go into the Hebrew, all right? And he worked as a sailor, during which he claims to have been declared a prophet. He was a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Mason and a member of the Big Brothers organization. Cherry claimed to have a vision that African Americans are the descendants of the ancient Israelites. Now you can say, well, he didn't have a vision, right? Well, who are you to say that, man? No, you wasn't there. I mean, we are the Israelites, man. You know? And we were talking about end time visions. A lot of men have visions, man. Right? A lot of men have visions. And they don't have to, know 1,000 precepts to have a vision. You don't have to be the in-depth breakdown, man, to have a vision. See, the Most High gives visions to who he will, man. Did not Amos say in Amos, the 7th chapter? Let me get this real quick. Right, this Amos chapter 7 and verse 12. Here's what Amaziah said to Amos. Amos 7 and 12. Also, Amaziah said unto Amos, O thou seer, go, flee thee away into the land of Judah, and there eat bread and prophesy there. Because Amos went up and he was prophesying all the way up in the northern kingdom. But prophesy not again anymore at Bethel, for it is the king's chapel, and it is the king's court. Here's what Amos said. Then answered Amos and said to Amaziah, I was no prophet, neither was I a prophet's son, but I was a herdman and a gatherer of sycamore fruit. And that applies to us, man. We weren't prophets, right? We weren't even the sons of it. Our fathers wasn't in the truth. We weren't a prophet's son. Amos said, I was just a herdman. And you had guys say, you had a warehouse job. Maybe you worked at a, Foot Locker, or, maybe, you collected trash, or you had a typical 9 to 5, or, maybe you were, working at a restaurant. You wasn't a prophet. Or again, your father wasn't a prophet, or his father before him. You were just having a daily, life, man, going through the motions. Verse 15. And the Lord took me as I followed the flock. And the Lord said unto me, go prophesy unto my people Israel. So the Lord takes you, man. The Lord took our forefathers and gave them visions. gave them dreams. Still does it to this day. Remember, that's a fulfillment of Joel, the 2nd chapter. Right? So go to Joel chapter 2. It takes him and gives him visions and dreams in order to help direct us and guide us, as a people. And don't feel bad if you never had any dreams from the Most High. You don't get a lot of visions. Some brothers get a lot, some sisters get a lot, and some don't. Right? Everybody has their own calling and their own gift from the Most High. It's all about tapping into the gift the Most High gave you and using that gift to magnify his name. Right? Joel chapter 2 and 28. And this shall come to pass afterward, that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams. Your young men shall see visions. Here's that word of vision again, right? That's a promise that the Most High said would happen. So we see that. This man said, Cherry, FS Cherry, claimed to have a vision that African Americans are the descendants of the ancient Israelites during his time abroad. He then established and led a congregation in Chattanooga, Tennessee in 1886, where he preached that white people were inherently evil and hated by God. So now things are really coming into the scene. You see that? Now things are really happening, man. Where he preached white people are inherently evil and hated by God. Those are the waters rising to the loins. That's part of knowledge too. Knowledge is not just 1 + 5 is 6, and 6 - 0 is 6, right? It's not just that. I'm only using 6 because we're talking with Esau right now about the so-called white man. Part of knowledge is knowing who your enemy is and who the Most High created and why they are created. When he preached that the so-called white man was inherently evil, that's found in the Bible, right? Let's get that. You can say, well, no, they're not inherently evil. They learn to be evil, and they can learn to do good. If you take 20 Edomites and put them in a classroom, give them 40 hours a week, and you can teach them how to be righteous, they will be righteous, and they'll learn how to love God, and they'll learn how not to be a homosexual, and they'll denounce sin, and they'll denounce their fathers before them, and they'll finally learn how to be an upright Edomite. Show me upright Edomite in the Bible. That's what they call it. Was that an oxymoron, right? Show me upright Edomite, man. Where there was a league of Edomites that finally turned to God. It's not in there, man. They are inherently evil. Psalm chapter 58 and verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. You see that? So they're wicked from the womb. Every I don't care if it's the Gerber baby. I don't care if it's the blonde hair, blue eye baby. I don't care if it's the baby on the Pampers commercial running and spilling spaghetti on their head. I don't care if it's the Edomite baby at the park. We don't care if they're in the 1st grade or the 5th grade, man. Every single Edomite, rather they're short, tall, rather they're a Quaker, rather they're a Christian, rather they are a supervisor, a president, a priest, a pastor, it doesn't matter. Every one of them is the devil according to the Bible. Every one of them. That's Duff said to Howard Bosch to me. I was shocked. Now you can say, now you can get mad. Okay, what about this Edomite? He helped me, unlock my car when I was locked out of my car. He helped me get a job. He told me that he would look out for me. He's still the devil, man. The Most High just used him to help you get to where you got to be, man. As soon as they be born, they speaking lies, right? You can't get around it. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 1, right? So we kind of going into this Ezekiel chapter 47 and showing you the men that the Lord used to allow the water to rise and to get to where we're at now. And we're going in process of time how the truth has increased, man. right? Ezekiel chapter 1 and verse 15. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. Who is crooked? The serpent, right? He cannot be made straight, man. He cannot be made upright. He will not repent. He will not turn to the Most High. He will not denounce sin. He will not be an upright Edomite, right? It's just not happening. He was made crooked. That's Job 26 and 13. By his spirit, he hath garnished the heavens. His hand hath formed the crooked serpent. So the Lord formed him as that crooked serpent that can never be straight, that can never do right, that can never be obedient. Right? Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. So this is deeper than him learning evil. It's not like the so-called white man learned to be evil. It's not as if he took a class on evil 101 and passed it down from generation to generation. His soul, it's in his bones, it's in his DNA to be off. He's just off. They're just off. Right now, you can say prove it. I'm not about to sit here and prove how the Edomite is off. If you're asking, if you're pulling, because you got brothers right now, they go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and 21. They say, look, y'all brothers need to prove it. Right? Don't the Lord say prove all things? Show me how the so-called white man is off. Well, I'm not going to show you that he's off, man. Right? You're going to see that he's off. Right? God forbid, but you're going to find out, man. Well, an Edomite, they never treat me wrong. Every Edomite I did, they met, they helped me change my flat tire, right? AAA came and, they helped my car get up and running, right? He gave me that big promotion. His soul, his spirit, though, is not upright, right? There's nothing he can do to get right. He's been programmed, right, to be evil. It has been downloaded, if you can understand. It's been downloaded into his members to go astray from the Lord, man. Right from the womb. So let's go back to this. So this man, let me read that part again. Right? He then established and led a congregation. Let's see if I could zoom in 1886, where he preached that Edomites were inherently evil and hated by God. Now, are the Edomites really hated by God, or is that far-fetched? Is it safe to say that the Edomites are hated by God? Right? Let's go to Romans chapter 9 and 13. Right? Romans chapter 9 and verse 13. Right? Now, Romans 9, man, I'm telling you, Romans 9 is a powerful chapter. It's a beautiful chapter. Right? Romans 9, you got to get into Romans 9. Romans chapter 9 and 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So the Lord hates Esau. And it says hated, because he's always hated Esau. From the beginning. The Lord created the so-called white man, and he hates him. And you might get mad and say, well, that's not fair. Well, what did the Lord say? What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God? God forbid. Meaning, is God wrong? Did he pervert judgment for hating Esau before he was born? For hating all of his descendants? For never giving them a chance? For never making them upright? Is God unrighteous for that? Should we fault the Lord? A God forbid, meaning no. But he said to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So pretty much I do what I want to do, right? That's what the Most High said. Let's read on a little bit more about this man, right? F.S. Cherry. He would attempt to spread this belief in Philadelphia, where he established the Church of God in 1915. So you see how we started from the 1800s with a Gabriel Prosser to 1830 with Nat Turner. Right now we're dealing late 1800s to the 1915 in Philly. Right? Tenets of his group, known as the Church of the Living God, the pillar ground of truth. See that? For all nations, included Black nationalism and support for Marcus Garvey. Cherry also espoused anti-Semitism, claimed that the earth is square, and professed that Yahweh Shai would return in the year 2000 to start a race war. So this guy, he was, every prophecy wasn't on point, right? Every prophecy wasn't on point, right? Because the year 2000, but you can see the zeal. You can see how the Most High was working with him, right? You can see that, man. He espoused anti-Semitism. What is anti-Semitism in today's lingo? It means you're against the so-called Jew. Now we know the true definition of what it truly means, and we went through the etymology of it, and we went down into it, right? But what, man? He was going against the so-called Jew, small hats, right? The pink man, right? The chomos, the pedos, you know? And he said the Lord is coming back to start a race war, right? And guess what? The Lord is coming back to start a race war, right? It will be a race war, man. So he got that right. Now, the year 2000, no, right? But race war, yes, man. The Lord is returning to start a big time race war. Now you can say, well, show me that in the Bible. Well, okay, let's show it. All right, let's show race war in the Bible. Go to Zechariah chapter 9. These are the waters to the loins, man. Right? Zechariah chapter 9 and verse 12. It reads, turn you to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee. So the Most High is telling Israelites to turn to the stronghold. What is the stronghold? This truth, right? The word of Yahweh. Bashem Yahushua. Stop walking towards sin and turn around and turn to this truth. The Most High said, even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee. When I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as the sword of a mighty man. So that's a race war right there. That's the Lord raising up the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man against the Greeks. Who's the Greeks? The so-called white man, right? So the Lord is going to start up a race war. He's going to raise up what you call the minorities against the Edomites, man. And he's going to make us as the sword of a mighty man, meaning we're going to kill a lot of so-called white people. Name who's a mighty man in the Bible? Joshua, Gideon, Judas Maccabees, Simon Maccabees, right? Jonathan. You understand? These are mighty men that walked the earth, and they slew a lot of men. The Most High said he's going to make our sword like King David's sword. Let's read on. And the Lord shall be seen over them. So Yahweh Shai is going to be there. And his arrow shall go forth as the lightning, and the Lord God shall blow the trumpet, and shall go with the whirlwinds of the south. So when we're taking down these Edomites, we're going to have chariots flying over our head. You got to picture this thing. Stop picturing lust all day and folly. Who's going to win the big game? You got to envision the chariots flying over our head as we march in military order, and we running after the so-called white man. And the chariot zapping Edomites here and there. You got a battle axe. You kind of throw your axe and hit him in the back, and you take it out, and you cut an Edomite head off, and he try to get you, but you duck and you thrust him through it. You got to kind of get into this thing, bro. Right? Let's read on. The Lord of hosts shall defend them, and they shall devour and subdue its sling stones. They shall drink and make a noise as through wine, and they shall be filled like bowls as the corners of the altar. So what does this mean when it says we're going to make a noise as through wine? Well, what happens when you are around the brothers and brothers start drinking wine? Do brothers start whispering when they start drinking wine? Do they turn into creeps as the strong drink come in and the music is playing? They turn into weird. No, brothers get loud, man. You know, they get loud. They may not even be arguing, but brothers just get loud, man. Right? That's how we're going to be when we're killing these nations. It's going to be like a brothers turning up. Right? It's going to be a party, man. Right? It's going to be a real party. You know? Let's read on. And they shall be filled like bowls as the corners of the altar, man. So it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal. So this man wasn't lying when he said the Lord will return to start a race war. All right. Cherry was from the deep south and worked on ships and railroads before taking over a religious congregation. He taught that God, Yahweh Shai, Adam, and Eve were black, and they are. Yahweh Shai is a so-called black man. It's Revelation chapter 1, verses 13 through 14. Adam is a so-called black man, and Eve, that's Genesis chapter 2 and 6. The Most High is a so-called black man, that's Daniel chapter 7 and verse 9, right? Read those accounts, you see that every person he listed is indeed a so-called black man, you know, or woman, right? Because he said Eve. He established the Church of the Living God, the pillar ground of truth for all nations in 1886. After his death, he was succeeded as the church's leader by his son, Prince Benjamin F. Cherry. You see that? So you can kind of see how it started, going back to what they posted with F.S. Cherry, right? And after F.S. Cherry, they put 1920 Matthews. We read about this man. He established the Commandment Keepers in Harlem, New York. He primarily based his learnings on so-called Jewish people. He rejected all the New Testament writings. And you may have heard of the Commandment Keepers, right? The Commandment Keepers out there in Harlem. Again, why are we going over this? Because we're going over the vision that Ezekiel saw, right? Ezekiel saw the waters rising, which is in process of time, the truth increasing all the way from the 1800s all the way up until where we are now. And the time period that we're living in, right now, we're in the waters that we're swimming in. But the time of Ezekiel 47 and 4 is like that mid 1900s kind of spirit, right? When the waters were to the knees. Remember, the waters represent the living water, the truth manifesting itself. All right, let's read on. So you got the Commandment Keepers. And I'm going to go back to this article as well. Let's see, I had the article pulled up. Bear with me. All right, that's okay. I'll just finish this. Okay, in 1929, Israel ben Newman and Mordecai Herman established the Moorish Zionist Temple of the Moorish Jews. 1930, Arnold Josiah Ford, he and a small group of black Jews went to Ethiopia where they participated in the coronation of Emperor Haile Selassie, created a school, and acquired 800 acres and united black Jews, right? Then you have in the 1960s, right? Eber ben Yamyin, also known as Abba Bivens, was initially taught he was an Israelite by an ex-slave some many years earlier in the South. See that? Bivens believed in the Black Christ, and on his way to New York, had visited many Indian reservations and came to the scriptural conclusion that the so-called Indians were Israelites as well. See that? So he kind of put that Gad and the Northern Kingdom were Israelites. Right? So you see how the truth is increasing, even in knowledge. He then came to New York and joined the Commandment Keepers under Matthews, but rejected Matthew's teachings of the Old Testament only. So they would have called this guy a heretic back then. They would have said, hey, look, this guy is a heretic. And everybody that looked at him would have said, hey, he's off. We're only OT only. Right? But he kind of rejected that. Bivens founded the Israeli school. He was the first to teach both blacks and Indians of the Americans that they are Israelites. Right? You can kind of go through the rest of this on your own. Right? Kind of read about Moshe ben Kareem, aka Masha, in 1973 was chosen to carry on teachings of an Abba Bivens placed with Peter Sherrod, aka Yaquab. They took over the Israeli school, adding UPK, Universal Practical Knowledge. Later in the 70s, they were helped by 5 other brothers, and they were called the Seven. They were offered several $1 million by the Rosicrucians to teach a more Christian or Jewish message of unity for all mankind, as some of the other Israelite camps teach. Mashan Yaakov refused. A Christian Jewish message means Negro will remain on the bottom of society and the full truth will never be taught. Right? And then 1973, Shadrach Porter formed the Israelite Nation. Right? So they kind of just give you the history. Right? And they give you the history of the breakdown that they put together to show how the truth has been started from the 1800s. And it didn't just start at the 1800s, right? Because a lot of our forefathers came over here singing so-called Negro spirituals that had their ties into the Bible, right? Follow the drinking gourd, right? Kumbaya, that's all Hebrew, right? They all knew these things, all right? They all knew these things. So let's go back to Ezekiel chapter 47 and verse 5. Afterward, he measured 1,000, and it was a river that I could not pass over, for the waters were risen, waters to swim in, a river that could not be passed over. And this is the time that we're living in now, right? After that, and you hear elders, and we've heard elders, and we know elders that told us that history, right? But you can hear about the Israeli school, right, of UPK, and you can read about, you hear the word, the split, right, and process of time. You got the house of David, and you can go through all of that, man, right? See the brothers that came, or the elders that came out of those schools, and where we are today, right? And a lot of brothers in our generation, we learned from brothers, via the internet or YouTube, or you may know an elder, have known an elder, and he kind of told you that, right? So that's where we are now. We're in the waters that have risen. These are waters that you're swimming in, a river that cannot be passed over. Let's go to Psalms chapter 36. Right? Let's go to Psalms chapter 36 and verse 1. Right? Slakia. Psalms chapter 36, and I'm going to actually start at verse 7. How excellent is thy loving kindness, O God! Therefore, the children of men put their trust under the shadow of thy wings. They shall be abundantly satisfied with the fatness of thy house, and thou shalt make them drink of the river of thy pleasures. See that? So this is that water that you're living in. The river of the pleasures is this truth. For with thee is the fountain of life, Slakia, and thy light shall we see light. And that's this fountain that Ezekiel said, hey, look, these are waters to swim in, waters that cannot be passed over. This same river that he saw is the same river in Revelation chapter 22 and 1. Right? Let's go to Revelation chapter 22 and 1. That's the exact same river. Revelation chapter 22 and verse 1. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of the Most High and of the Lamb. So remember, certain prophets saw the same vision, but they described it in different ways. What Ezekiel saw is no different than what John the Revelator saw. When you read about Ezra, and when you read 2nd Ezra chapter 13 about Yahushua returning, that's the same thing that Isaiah saw in Isaiah chapter 66. Same thing that John saw in Revelation chapter 19. That exact same thing is what Habakkuk saw in Habakkuk the 3rd chapter. So certain chapters are the same vision, but it's described according to the spirit of that prophet. So you would directly link up Ezekiel chapter 47, and let's get back to this, and 5, you would link it up with Revelation chapter 22 and 1. Right? Let me read Revelation 22 and 1 again. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of the Most High and of the Lamb. Now, this pure river water of life is the word of the Most High. Why is it clear as crystal? Because it's not tainted. It's not, this doctrine is pure. It's truth, right? The Lord said, I give you good doctrine. Forsake ye not my law in Proverbs chapter 4 and 2. This is not tainted or influenced by Christianity or Islam or man's thoughts and the man's mind. This is of God, Yahweh, clear as crystal, right? Let's go back to Ezekiel chapter 47. Ezekiel chapter 47 and verse 6. And he said unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen this? Then he brought me and caused me to return to the brink of the river. Now when I returned, it's like, and now when I had returned, behold, at the bank of the river were very many trees on the one side and on the other. So he saw the tree of life, but he described it as many trees. All right. He saw the tree of life on the bank of the river. Now, we'll go into that. Then said, and we'll describe that because we'll read about that tree of life as we read on. Let's read on. Then said he unto me, These waters issue out toward the east country, and go into the desert, and go into the sea, which being brought forth into the sea, the waters shall be healed. So the waters that we saw issuing out on the right side of the altar, they have a destination. The destination is they have to hit the east country first. Then after they hit the east country, they have to go into the desert. Then after they're done going through the desert, they have to be brought forth into the sea. So now you have to know, what does the east country represent? What does the desert represent? And what does the sea represent? Because all three are going to come in contact with the living water. Now the east country represents us in this truth right now. We represent the east country, right? We represent Jerusalem. You understand? And we are the ones getting the living water first, right? We are the ones accessing the words of life. Let's get that in John chapter 7, right? John chapter 7. So apostles, prophets, the men, the men of the Lord, we have to get the truth first. And then we have to get that truth into our people, which represent the desert. All right. This is John chapter 7, right? And verse 38. I'm going to start at 37. And the last day, that great day of the feast, Yahushua stood and cried, saying, If any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. He that believeth on me, as the scripture has said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water, meaning out of your mind. Right? And we're the ones in this truth right now that believe on Yahushua, as the scripture has said. We believe his purpose, his physical countenance. We believe that he's the Son of the Most High. We believe that he's the anointed, the Hamashiach, the Savior of Israel, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Deliverer, the Redeemer. We believe all of these things. We're not shaken or wavered by who Yahushua is. Therefore, the Lord has given us that faith and has rewarded us, according to his mercy, to be able to spew out living waters as freely as we please. Right? So we're that east country that is receiving the truth first. Right? Let's get another precept. Let's go to Zechariah. This is Zechariah chapter 12 and 7. The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. So, right? So it really starts with Judah first and foremost, because Jerusalem is the chief capital in Judah, right? So it represents Judah, then it goes to the other tribes, right? But you have brothers from all tribes in this truth: Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, whatever the case may be, right? Any one of the mighty tribes, they're all coming into this truth. So the east country are the brothers in this truth now, and the desert represents what? The state of our people, right? That don't have the truth. I believe that's Isaiah. Let's get this in Isaiah chapter 35. Isaiah chapter 35 and 6. Then shall the lame man leap as an hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break forth, and streams in the desert. So we don't have the truth. You're likening it to a wilderness, right? You're likening it to a land going through a dearth or a drought. So that water has to be spread to our people who represent that desert, right? And the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water, and the habitation of dragons, where each lay, shall be grass with reeds and rushes. See that? The Most High called us a thirsty land. Babylon the Great is a thirsty land, right? And we're those people in this desert. Now, there's another scripture in Isaiah, right? I believe that's Isaiah chapter. Let me get this real quick. 41. Come on. Isaiah chapter 41 and verse. We'll start at 20. It's like it's 17. Isaiah chapter 41 and 17. When the poor and needy seek water, and there is none, and their tongue faileth for thirst, I, the Lord, will hear them. I, the God of Israel, will not forsake them. I will open rivers in high places and fountains in the midst of the valleys. I will make the wilderness a pool of water and the dry land springs of water. Where that wilderness? Where the dry land? Where the people in Christianity? Where the people on dope? Where the people strung out? Where the people that are proud? Where into politics? I saw this thing that had blacks for Trump. Right? I logged on, I got on social media, and I think the first thing I saw on Instagram, it was about, it had to be thousands. Right? It wasn't a few people. Blacks for Trump. Let me see if I can find that. Right? Let's see if I can get this. All right, blacks for Trump. Where is this at? Was it? Hold on. Hold on. Whoa. Hold on. Niggas for Trump. Video shows black MAGA zealot outside of jail claiming ex-president should be king. Okay, well, you see that? That's that we have no king but Caesar. That's off. See if we can get this to play. So that they represent the desert, man. Our people are destroyed. All right, it might not play. Look at this. This is mad. This is sickening. They came to support him August 24th, 2023. Right? And some people, some Israelites ain't just going to make it. They just not going to make it. Right? I mean, you know, you can teach them, you can pray with them, you can fast for them, right? You could, you know, you can do God knows what, but look at this. Look at this guy. I bet he the one that said Trump should be king. And they look happy. I want to see if that video played. I got these advertisements, I think. That may not be it. All right, but you get the point. That our people are a desert, right? They are a desert. I can't believe this man said, well, I can't believe it. Okay, here we go. Here's some let me see if I can get some audio. All right, bear with me. Let's see what the hell is going on. This is madness, man. Okay. That's what Jake. Hold on. Bear with me. Let's see, Trump. All right. So they said they're killing Trump. They killing Trump for no reason. They using black guys like this here. Blacks for Trump speak while arguing with the sheriffs outside of Fulton County Jail Everyone told to stay off roadway. Trump expected to be arrested today. I hate you. He said you are going to hell. Let me see this.
They're killing Trump for no reason. And then they're using black guys like this here. See, notice he didn't tell the other media to get out of the roadway. He only telling the black media and the white people that are for Trump.
Yes, look at this guy, man. I mean, what more do we have to say? Right? A man's a gait and attire, and look, show what he is. We don't need to end that breakdown about this guy.
They're killing Trump for no reason.
This is the desert. This is the desert.
And then they're using black guys like this here. See, notice he didn't tell the other media to get out of the roadway. He only telling the black media and the white people that are for Trump. Yes, no, ain't no come on now. You a sellout, brother.
So he's calling him a sellout. So
that are for Trump. Yes, no, ain't no come on now. You a sellout, brother. I don't even know why I call you. I mean, ham and cheese head ass nigga. You know who you are. You a sellout, and I hate you.
This is madness. This is madness. This is hypocrisy. Then he told him, "I hate you." Boy, this stuff, man. You, man. I tell you, man. This is unbelievable. I got to get back to the left, but I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna do my best not to pause. I'm gonna watch it straight through. It's only a minute left or so. Do my best not to pause it.
These head ass nigga, you know who you are. You a sellout, and I hate your guts. And I ain't gonna even. I'm not even like trying to roll it over like nice. Fuck you, nigga.
Trying to get media exposure too. They trying to get on the camera too.
Sugarcoating. Yeah, we on the camera.
We everywhere.
Young man.
We everywhere.
You ain't even a man because you a sellout. You beating that.
I'm not gonna watch the rest, right? You get the point. Obviously Jake is destroyed, right? I mean, what more proof do you have to see? Right? What more proof do you have to see that Jake is destroyed? I mean, I think that sums it up. I think that takes the cake. Right? I think if there was any other video, any kind of, any proof, I would like to see it because I believe that man takes the cake, man. Right? So let's go back to this. Let's get back into the lesson. So now you know our people are the desert. We represent the desert documented in the book of Ezekiel chapter 47. So let's read Isaiah chapter 41 and 18 again. I will open rivers in high places and fountains in the midst of the valleys. I will make the wilderness a pool of water and the dry land springs of water. I will plant in the wilderness the cedar, the shittah tree, and the myrtle and the oil tree. I will set in the desert the fir tree and the vine and the pine and the box tree together. So we were a desert at one time. Our people, some of us are still in that desert, but the Most High in that desert, he's turning it to a pool of water. He's putting all these different men in there. Cedar trees, shittah trees, myrtle trees, oil trees. Those are apostles, prophets, teachers, ministers, evangelists, helps, governments, healers, miracle workers, counselors, people that exhort, right? Exhorters of the faith. And this is how that desert is slowly turning to a habitable place. All right. So in Ezekiel chapter 47, these living waters that we read about, they hit the east country, then they go down into the desert. And where else is this living water going? And go into the sea, which being brought forth into the sea, the water shall be healed. Now, what does the sea represent? The sea represents the other nations. So the other nations are going to be given the word of the Most High too, right? They're going to be given the word of the Most High as well. Because right now the sea is tainted and polluted. Many of the other nations, they're serving diverse gods. They're into different religions. Some of these nations drink blood. Some of them wash themselves in feces and bathe in urine. Some of these nations eat children and babies, and some of these nations do God knows what, man. So the Most High has to not just restore Israel. It starts with us first, but then the other nations have to be put in order as well. All right, let's prove that the waters or that sea represent the other nations. Go to Psalms. Let's see where I'm at with time. Okay, Psalm chapter 144 and verse, let's see, 6. Cast forth lightning and scatter them. Shoot out thine arrows and destroy them. Send thine hand from above. Rid me and deliver me out of great waters, from the hand of strange children. So it's not as if David was actually drowning and he needed a life vest or a life rope to save him out of these waters. The waters represent the strange children. You understand? The Edomites, the Moabites, and all these other nations, the Ishmaelites, they are likened unto the waters where we're going to be delivered out of. They're that sea in Ezekiel chapter 47. Go to Isaiah chapter 17. Isaiah chapter 17 and verse 12. Woe to the multitude of many people, which make a noise like the noise of the seas, and to the rushing of nations that make a rushing like the rushing of mighty waters. You see that? So the nations are likened unto the waters. All right? They are likened unto the sea or the waters. Let's get another one. Go to Isaiah 59 and 19. It reads, so shall they fear the name of Yahweh, Bashmi Abishai from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a what? Like a flood. The spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. So again, the nations are likened unto the waters. And like we always go into, that's where you have the terminology. Even this man's language lets you know that the nations are likened unto the waters. You have something called a sea of people. That's an actual phrase. A sea of people means a mass of people. See that? A sea of people, a very large number of people or things that look similar. He looked out at the sea of faces. Right? So again, a sea is likened to the nations due to the tumultuous, constant motion of evil and sin, and due to the massive amounts of people. Right? So they're likened to the sea. And sometimes a man could be likened to a wave. Right? This is James chapter 1 and verse 6. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. So one man that don't have faith is a wave. A whole bunch of men that don't have don't have faith are a sea. Okay? You could be a wave as an individual, but a group of waves make up a sea. They are that sea that we're reading about in Ezekiel chapter 47 that have to be healed. This is the exact same thing written in Revelation chapter 22. That's why we went into it. You have a sea of people, right? Don't you have, when people are in a stadium, they do the wave in a stadium, right? Let's see. Right, you don't need any audio. Look at the wave. It looks like a sea of people. See that? So only a sea of people could do the wave. And you have people that do what? This is just further proof to let you know that the people are the sea and waters. People crowd surf. You can surf. You can do the wave. You have a sea of faces, right? So the nations, even in today's kind of culture, let you know that, hey, look, these are the waters. All right, these are the waters. And again, the waters have to be healed. Let's go to Revelation chapter 22. This is Revelation chapter 22 and verse 2. In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. So the nations have to be healed. Same thing in Ezekiel 47. The waters have to be healed. In Ezekiel, they call the nations the waters. In Revelation, it just says the nations. You see that? So you have the tree of life, and out of the tree, you have the fruit and you have the leaf. Right? So let's read this again. What does this mean? In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life. So what's compatible with the living water is the tree of life. The tree of life is not an actual tree found on the mystery island, right? Where you have to go through a year-long journey to get to. The tree of life is made manifest right in front of you, right? The tree of life represents Yahweh Shah and his word. That's what the tree of life represents, the word of the Most High. You have the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which represents the nations and their philosophies. And you have the tree of life, which is Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Shah said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, right? He is the one to resurrect us, right? That's John 11 and 25, right? Let me get that real quick. He is our life. She'll open up another blue letter. Yeah, let me get another blue letter. Right? Just to have another tab open. And kind of get this in John chapter 11 and 25. Right? John chapter 11 and 25. It reads, Yahweh Shai said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And you live because you are able to access the tree of life. You understand? He is that life. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 3. Dealing with the tree of life. Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 18, dealing with wisdom. She, meaning wisdom, which is the word of the Most High, she is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is everyone that retaineth her. So you're able to access that tree of life by coming back to Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua, right? And eat of the fruit thereof. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, chapter 8. Let's get another precept on the tree of life, and we'll kind of move on. All right. 2nd Ezra, chapter 8 and 52. It reads, For unto you is paradise opened, the tree of life is planted, the time to come is prepared, plenteousness is made ready, a city is builded, and rest is allowed, yea, perfect goodness and wisdom. So Ezra was told that he has access to the tree of life, to eat the fruit thereof. And the thing about a regular tree is that a fruit only comes in a particular season. Like if you have pears or apples, they only come at a certain time of the year, right? And if you were starving and you needed that food, you would have to wait. If all you had was that pear tree or apple tree, and it only came around the late summer, then you might perish, man, if that's all you had. Right? And there are certain men that only bring fruit at certain seasons. You understand? The tree of life is not so. The tree of life is a continuous, everlasting well of living waters and fruit that always is there to give unto the Most High's people, right? And that's what Revelation chapter 22 means when it says, which bear 12 manner of fruits and yielded her fruit every month. When it says 12 manner of fruits, it doesn't mean, okay, you got apples this month and then you got oranges the next month. Okay, then you got cherries on this month. Okay, and then you grow pears on this month. Okay, then you got banana. It's not talking about that. Man. It's not literally 12 manner of fruits. What the scripture is saying, the point is not the manner of fruit. The point is that this tree is constantly bringing forth fruit, right? As long as you're in His truth and are better in Yahweh Shai, you'll have access to that, right? You'll constantly have nourishment from the word of the Most High. The Lord will give you wisdom, nourish you. You will live out the promises, the prophecies, right? You'll increase in faith. You'll increase in strength. That's why every month you don't have to worry about going through a famine spiritually. You don't have to worry about not being connected to the Most High. You don't have to worry about the Lord separating Himself from you, because you'll always have Yahweh Shai. Every month, every day, every second, you'll have the fruit that comes with wisdom. And that is your reward for the kingdom of heaven. Right now, you can fall out the truth. The Holy Spirit can be taken from you. Right now, you can have days where the Lord isn't connected with you because you haven't prayed, you haven't read. Right now, that fruit may not be present because you may be being judged for your sins. You understand? For evil that you have done. But in the kingdom, those things will not be so. Every month, all the time, continuous fruit from Yahweh Bashmi Awashah. And that fruit is also going to keep have you be immortal. But the nations, they won't be able to get at the fruit. They'll only be able to get the leaf. Would you rather have the fruit or the leaf? We'd rather have the fruit. Get the nations the leaf. Another term for the leaf are the crumbs. That's what Yahweh told that woman. She said, yea, the dogs of the table dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table. So the leaf represents the crumbs. Right? This Matthew chapter 15 and 27. I'm going to start at 26. But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs. Meaning, don't take the tree of life, don't take the fruit of immortality and wisdom and give it to the Moabite man. Don't cast your pearls before swine. Don't take all of the breakdowns and do a private class with 3 Edomites for 4 hours. It's not meat. It's not good or comely to take the children's bread and give it to the dogs. And she said, truth, Lord. Meaning, yeah, you're right. Truth, Lord. Yet the dogs eat up the crumbs which fall from their master's tables. So she knew she was going to be a slave and that we would be her masters. And then she wouldn't get the bread, but she would get the crumbs. She wouldn't get the fruit, but she would get the leaf. The leaf of the tree is for the healing of the nations, to show them the high holy days, the ceremonial law, the dietary law, right? Particular sacrifices, the judgments. They're going to have to know all of these things. They're going to have to know the laws and the commandments, right? Let's get that in the book of Isaiah chapter 2, right? Isaiah chapter 2 and verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established on the top of the mountains and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. So they're all going to flow into the words of the Lord. You're going to, in the kingdom, you're going to have Ishmaelites with fringes on. You're going to have Hamites growing their beard out. You're going to have Moabites eating lamb and not eating rat and mice. You're going to have Japhites, right, keeping the Sabbath. Right, and that's the will of the Most High. The Lord is going to have the whole earth be in order. We're not going to be in order and the other nations are going to do what they want to do. Everybody's going to have to flow into this thing like water, right? And many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Every nation will submit unto the will of the Most High and will be healed, except one nation. Zechariah chapter 8 and 23. Thus said the Lord of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all languages of the nations, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that the Most High is with you. So all of the nations are going to say, we're going to go with the Israelites. Let's cleave unto them because the power is with them. All right. So Ezekiel saw that the waters were going to be sent to the sea, and the water shall be healed. Meaning the other nations are going to be in order. Right? Hey, Shalom, King of Love. I'm going to hit you back. All right. And this shall come to pass that everything that liveth, which moveth, whithersoever the river shall come, shall live. And there shall be a very great multitude of fish, because these waters shall come thither, for they shall be healed, and everything shall live whither the river cometh. So a sign of life in any water is a multitude of fish. That's a sign of life. That's equivalent to, if you want to know if a tree is alive, you look at the fruit. If you want to know that waters are healthy, you look and see if there's life inside of the waters. If you go to a swamp or a mire, you're not going to see a multitude of fish. Those waters are stagnant, infested. Maybe chemicals are there. Maybe dead animals are in there. Maybe there's dead human bodies in that swamp. Therefore, those waters are brown, damn black, and you don't see nothing but mosquitoes, hornets, and damn crocodiles in there, man. You know? But the waters, and that's how the nations look now. This is if you got ears here. The nations, they look like that now, if you can understand. But when the kingdom of heaven is established, they're going to look like that clear water of the islands, man. You know? On a spiritual level. And you're going to know that they're healthy and cured because you're going to see fish. Is that actual fish? No. The fish that is talking about is the fruit, right? You're going to see them keeping the commandments. You're going to see a sign of life is keeping the commandments. Just like us. How do you know that somebody's alive and it's true? They have their fringes on. They have a beard on their face, right? They may be keeping their feast days. They're showing how to love their neighbor. Their households are in order, right? They're keeping a Sabbath day. That is a sign of life. A sign of life in the waters is fish. So a sign of life in the nations is what? Their works. That's what the fish is representing in that dark sand. It's not literal fish and literal waters. Little fish people coming out the water. That's madness. Right? This is what the nations are going to look like. You know, on a parabolic spiritual level. Right now, they look like this. This up. This is what they look like now. Because they're serving diverse gods. They're eating rats, right? They're drinking blood. They're bowing down to rocks and stocks and stones. You see that? But when the kingdom of heaven is established, they're not going to look like that anymore. That's what Ezekiel chapter 47 is saying. There's going to be a very great multitude of fish because of the word that's going to be taught to them. Right? Verse 10. And this shall come to pass that the fishers shall stand upon it from En-Gedi, even unto Eneglaim. They shall be a place to spread forth nets. Their fish shall be according to their kinds, as the fish of the great sea, exceeding many. Meaning what? Who are the fishers? The fishers are the men that are going to rule over the nations. Because they're the ones responsible for making sure the nations are bringing forth the righteous works. Remember, the Lord told John, James, Andrew, and Peter that he would make them fishers of men. And they're going to be responsible for making sure the nations are in order, man. Right? Making sure they're keeping the commandments, making sure they're keeping the Sabbath, making sure they're not sodomites, making sure they're not damn incest, right? Relationships and all types of things, man. Because they're going to have nets in order to catch the fish. Just like somebody that takes apples and puts apples into a basket. All the fruit that you have is being gathered, right? And the Lord looks at your fruit, right? Does that mean he's literally plucking, your body? No, he's taking the fruit off your tree. Okay, this brother repented. Oh, he's praying. He's meditating. He's taking all of your fruit, right? Put it in a basket, and he's looking at your fruit and saying, is it good fruit or bad fruit? He inspects your fruit. This has a worm in it. It's bruised. It's not ripe. This tree is no good. Cut it down. Same thing, same analogy or parable with the fishers and the waters. The fishers are looking at the fish of the other nations. Is it bad fish? Is it good fish? Let's cast the bad away, right? This is wicked works. So it's the exact same parable. And the best way to understand Ezekiel 47:10 is to compare it to a tree and fruit. But it's only waters and fish. Or instead of a basket to catch your fruit, it's a net to catch the fish. It's the exact same parable, but used in a different saying. All right. So let me get a quick precept on the fishers. Mark 1. All right, this is St. Mark chapter 1 and verse 17. And Yahushua said unto them, come ye after me, and I will make you to become fishers of men. Right? And straightway they forsook their nets and followed him. So you're going to have men ruling over these nations in the kingdom. And the nations are going to be healed. And they're going to bring forth water. Bring forth fish. Except one nation. There's only one nation that will not bring forth fish. There's only one people that can't get right. There's only one people that cannot repent. One people that will never turn back to the Most High. Every other nation is going to bring forth an exceeding amount of fish and be healed because of the waters. But there's one nation that will not. That nation is listed in Ezekiel chapter 47 and 11. But the miry places and the marshes thereof shall not be healed. They shall be given to salt. What people are the miry places and the marsh? The Edomites. They can't be healed. They can't get right. They can't be made straight. They will never grow. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 57 and 20. They are the miry places. Isaiah chapter 57 and 20. But the wicked are like the troubled sea, when it cannot rest, whose waters cast up mire and dirt. So they'll never cast up fish like the Ishmaelites or the Japhites or certain nations. This nation will always cast up mire and dirt because they were created to never be healed. They were created to always go off, right? And be the wicked, man. Verse 12. And by the river upon the bank thereof, on this side, on that side shall grow all trees for meat. That's speaking about the tree of life, whose leaf shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall bring forth new fruit according to its months, because their waters they issued out of the sanctuary. And the fruit thereof shall be for meat, and the leaf thereof for medicine. And we covered that. That leaf is for medicine to heal the nations. The fruit that comes out every month links up with immortality, the promises, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding from Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Malak Yahushai. This is what Ezekiel saw. This is what John the Revelator saw. And that is the vision of the living waters and the tree of life. But with that, a quick announcement. We will be doing Hell on the Harbor, right? Hell on the Harbor will be this weekend. It is an invitation and sincerity and an order for Israel that can come out, regardless of your respective camp, regardless of, how long you've been in the truth or whatnot. You're more than welcome to come out. The flyer has been posted. It's at the Baltimore Inner Harbor where we always teach at. We'll be doing an entire weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of festivities, mirth, gathering, labor, doing the work, camp, prophesying, teaching, fellowship. So Lord willing, brothers and sisters can come out. If you can't make it out, Lord willing, you can make it out next time. God forbid we're still here. We'll be doing Hell on the Harbor this upcoming Shabbat. Not this Shabbat now, but this upcoming Shabbat of so-called Labor Day weekend. Keep the Sabbath day holy. And again, everybody should be subscribed to this Cold Cuts Resurrected channel, right? Everybody should be subscribed to the Cold Cuts Resurrected channel, watching the mighty videos that are coming out from brothers Brother Riot's dropping videos, Kasadia, Kabash, Yaradan. Tune in and get built up in the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemiah Shah. We may be going live today for camp, so look out for the live. You know, it's a strong possibility we may go live for camp on the main channel, Watchman for Israel. Stay tuned, keep the Sabbath holy. No buying, no cooking, no selling, no work, no sex on the Sabbath, no doing your own pleasures, no folly, no vanity. Keep this day holy. Right? But with that, Kwam Yasha. Shalom.